Hi, welcome to Courage and Cannabis Show, where we bring you insightful conversations with the authors of the #1 best-selling books, Courage and Cannabis. I'm your host, Candy Flores, and today we're diving into the pages of Courage and Cannabis, Volume 2, with one of our authors, Michelle Nary, from her chapter, see, Mother Cannabis, Oberlin, Ohio, from Stoner to Triumph, TribuNary. Let's bring her on stage. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me tonight, Miss Flores.
Yes, we're glad to have you. And today we're going to embark on this literary journey. A quick shout out to our sponsors of the book series who help make this podcast possible: Compass Naturals, Vibe Cannabis Centers, Spender, The Canamom Show, the Blev 16614 Network, Cannabis BPO, Columbus Botanical Depot, Daga Digital Marketing, Hempbox, etc., Ohio Medical Marijuana Physicians Association, and DustinCava.com with web development. Remember, the Courage in Cannabis book series is a project of the Growth and Harmony and Happiness Community Foundation 501c3. Now let's get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we go into your chapter, Michelle.
Well, my name is Michelle Nary. Um, I am also known as Mother Cannabis. I came out of the cannabis closet officially in 2009. I have been affiliated with Grannies for Grass, Normal, and lots and lots of Grateful Dead music festivals.
Nice, nice. Okay, so now tell us a little bit about your chapter.
My chapter is peeks into my life. I am a second generation stoner. My dad was a veteran and he utilized cannabis. My earliest memories about cannabis and the stigma um, were around 11 years old. We had to um, let him know about traffic coming and going to the house, just all kinds of things that were different in my house growing up than other kids, but I didn't know that. And the story goes, through mostly my father's lifetime. Um, and how at the end of his life he had to go without cannabis and pass from this world without that medication he'd come to utilize all of his adult life. And so there's that.
Nice, nice. So, what would you say inspired you most when you were writing on what inspired you most about your topic?
I wanted to give an insight to a lifestyle that most people don't talk about. No one ever talked about it when I was growing up. They only allude to it a little bit here and there nowadays with some of the more popular stoner shows. Um, and it's insightful for a couple of different reasons. How people had to change their entire lifestyles for utilizing a plant. And how it used to be legal and we could use it, and they remember that. And well, some people remember that, and my dad just never stopped. They went underground. So the underground story and approach is also a whole nother aspect I didn't really go into a lot about. Um, the way we used to even get papers to roll a joint back in the day,
Hmm.
it wasn't always easy. Um, you had to go to a shop. You had to be seen going in and out of a shop. You could get your plates written down or pulled over just for being affiliated with the shop. They've been shaking down hippies for a long, long time, and there's a whole lot to talk about other than what I did put in my chapter. But I tried to bring several different things to talk about in uh, a 50-year history with cannabis, a love affair with cannabis, I might say. One that started out, as my chapter title says, a stoner. I utilized cannabis. I believe it or not, I stopped drinking alcohol by smoking a little more pot for a while. I stopped smoking cigarettes by smoking extra pot for a while. That's not in the chapter. Just things that
So there's a lot more to your chapter. So it was a little
oh,
bit of, yeah, definitely a little bit of uh, your full book.
yep, that's for sure. There will be lots of chapters to come, for sure.
Yes, definitely. What were some of the most surprising discoveries or insights you encountered during the writing process?
How emotional it was. How once the secrets started coming out on paper, how easy it was. How easy it will be. How people care. People want to know. They're interested. How many people have found their way to the plant through so many different paths we couldn't even imagine. But it's like that little cartoon smell thing. Once you get there, you start seeing the whole picture. It all just kind of comes together. And with cannabis, I have actually managed to get off many prescriptions, and I most of the time can have some pretty serious surgeries and don't utilize opiates.
That's amazing. That's great. Great job. I'm
Right.
happy for you.
And that's in my chapter. I studied to be a medical assistant. I was uh, working on being a nurse, a registered nurse. Um, Honestly, my algebra skills just couldn't cut the mustard. Um, but the fact remains that I have learned how to get myself better off 20 prescriptions or more, down 100 pounds, all using cannabis in different ways. And it sounds too good to be true, but if you use the science and the nutrients together, you can really create a wonderful existence without using so many pharmaceuticals. I came home, I just had my shoulder done. I had to have a rotator cuff reattached and repaired, and I had to have a bicep muscle put back on there. I came home from the facility um, using Tylenol,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I have encapsulated my full extract cannabis oil, also known as Rick Simpson oil. I have encapsulated it and used it instead, and have quite well managed my pain from a super serious surgery. And that's another part of my chapter, because I make this look easy and it's supposed to be terribly bad. I think I'm 12 days out, which is
Wow.
why I'm not using my right arm.
Well, gosh, that's amazing. That's
thank,
good. You look good.
thank you.
How do you see courage in cannabis contributing to the broader conversation surrounding cannabis culture and its legalization in your state?
Well, one, it's a great conversation starter. And once people find out that you told your story, they almost always want to tell theirs. If
Mhm.
there's
Mhm.
one there, they almost always want to tell theirs. And so that again is like this. It makes people want to come out of the closet, share their experiences, make it a normal conversation that people can have around the water cooler. or while they
Right.
have their coffee, or during lunch. It The conversation needs to be normalized. It's a plant,
That's right.
people. I see more and more and more people as they read it, as they talk about it, as they see our shows like this. They'll say, "Well, I'm not afraid to tell my story either. I'm gonna I might even talk to Dr. Bridget. I know a few people who have stories that make mine just look, like every other
Yes,
show's
no,
story."
definitely send them our way. We're always looking for new authors. We do have
Absolutely.
waiting lists, and they can always, contact, myself or they can give you their information, and you can relay it and so forth, or whichever way they want to go.
And so that's how the conversation will continue to grow exponentially.
Exactly. Yes, definitely. And we continue making magic, sharing the energy and growing, evolving
Right.
with the plants.
We're all doing the same thing. It's just nobody's talking about it.
That's
Because
right.
we've been in the closet, we've been underground, like we've been doing guerrilla grows, we've been doing all kinds of stuff no one's been talking about. You
That's right.
know, there's all
Yes.
kinds of things to talk about.
Yes, definitely. And those conversations have to keep going. We've got to keep the momentum. We've got to keep going. The medical story cannot be forgotten.
Right,
Whether it's rec or not in your state, definitely the medical stories cannot be forgotten.
right.
So, Michelle, tell us, what things are you working on outside of the book? I know there's a little something going on.
I I like to dabble with the plant, and I found this little concoction that if I get too high, which for me I don't think is possible. Wait, I had that conversation with someone once before. That's in the book. It's a gram and a half. Mother cannabis gets loopy as you know what at a gram and a half. Um, so to stop that from happening, Dr. Bridget has come up with something that she calls, is this okay for me to do?
Yes, yes. You're
It's a big trying to clap. Mother Cannabis Sober Shot.
I love it. I love it.
And
I can't wait to try it.
it it tastes great, and it does the job. Within 15-20 minutes, you're feeling a lot better, right as rain, and it's scientifically beautiful.
Right.
How it just
So,
walks you backwards.
the Mother Cannabis Sower Shot has no THC in it, correct?
That's correct.
Right. So tell our audience how it'll help them.
If you're at a party and maybe you eat something that has too much in your edible, or somebody puts a concentrate, maybe they've what do they call it, moon rocked a joint or something,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
suddenly you're sitting there and you're so high and you don't feel good. You can have a mother cannabis sober shot, and I kid you not, in 15-20 minutes you feel better. In fact, you feel better than when you started before the shot. um, because it's a magical little beverage that can do that. And I have seen this work on some of the industry's heavy hitters,
Mhm, mhm,
and it just walks them right back. Walks them right back. It's
mhm.
a beautiful gift, and this is what you get when you utilize plants and science.
Nice, nice. So
I
it's
figure
it
if
sounds very it
anybody,
sounds very healing.
it is, and if anybody wants to know more about it, they
Mhm.
need to stay tuned to these shows. They need to get in touch with Dr. Bridget Cole Williams, Kendi,
That's
Florida,
right.
and
That's right.
they'll tell you more about it and how you can get yours. and how you can try it for yourself at maybe an event coming to you soon.
That's right. That's right. So, how I know some of our audience are wondering how did you come up with the name Mother Cannabis? How did you get that name? Because everything has a story behind it.
Well, this is true. I run around festivals, music festivals. I've been doing it for decades, and I started out as a drinker and a partier, just getting my party on as much as I could, and it evolved into this is a great space. Lets everyone have a good time. I started momming up on people, feeding people, giving them love, sharing the
Hmm.
kindness. And I always was
Right.
smoking a joint, and so I got called Mother Cannabis, Mama Cannabis, Mother C. Pot
Nice.
Mama. I hear them all. I answered all of it. Yeah, that's me.
That's you. There you go.
Yes.
So, as we wrap up the show, what message or takeaway do you hope readers will gain from Courage and Cannabis?
There's a lot more to the stories than what you're reading. There's a lot more to the cannabis stories. You never know, your neighbor may or may not have a
Hmm.
story. And
That's
how are
right.
they ever going to know that you're a safe space to talk about it with if you just don't walk your truth? There's no harm in being associated with a plant.
That's right. That's right. What do you hope to see in volume well, I wouldn't say volume 3, I would say volume 4 just because our Mother's Day edition fell into volume 3. So what would you hope to see in volume 4 for the Courage and Cannabis series?
I want to see the stories of hope, the stories of standing your ground, the strength. I followed my path. Um, there are people that have been sickened because of their use with the plant, and they love the plant.
Mhm.
That story needs to be told. There are people that have been, and everyone knows these, imprisoned for nonviolent plant offenses. Every single story needs to be told until they are all set free.
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
mean, and the plant needs to be set free. And until the people hear the stories, until the stories have become normal, it's not going to change.
That's right. I would agree. I agree with you 100% because we it is very important because you still see a lot of others that um, have more intense stories, more it
Oh,
may
every
relate.
day I
Yes, it may
deal
relate
with
to someone else.
I deal with the stigma of stink every day.
Oh yeah.
And it's a shame. I mean, it stands out if you use the plant. If you run around with a pretty little vape, it's politically correct. But I don't want all that. I just want the plant. Me and the plant, we got a long relationship and it's working for me. I
Hmm.
have these because sometimes I need it and I really
Right.
don't have an option. But I am sick to death of being called stinky when I go in and out of somebody's house. Like, if I'm going to utilize the plant, I got to completely change clothes, spray down, and I'm done with it. People don't do that if you eat too much garlic, if you smoke too many cigarettes, if
Right.
you eat too
Hmm.
much onion on your sandwich or have 27 beers the night before. I'm
Hmm.
done with it.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
I want
right.
to invent a smell that smells just like it. So when somebody gets, I'll go, enjoy.
Some potpourri.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes, I've actually seen they have some out there. I
Well, I need to get some, and
yeah.
here's a little joy for you, sunshine.
Happy days.
That's right.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and experiences with us today. Before we go, where can our listeners and audience find out more about you to connect with you online?
Michelle Nary on Facebook. Um, they can find me at Mother Cannabis on Facebook. Um, my phone number's there. Basically, I'm pretty easy to find and to talk to. They can reach me through Courage and Cannabis
The
through
website.
any
Okay.
of the websites. I'm certain if someone wanted to talk to me or get more about my story, they could contact you or Dr. Bridget, and we'll go from there. I'm an older lady, you know. I really don't do a lot of this technology, though. You will see me sometimes doing a TikTok or something from time to time when I'm not busy having surgeries. This year's
Yes,
been a big year. Had some lumbar work done in January, and thank God for cannabis. I do. I
absolutely.
truly thank God for cannabis, or I'd be, Lord knows where I'd be.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you. It was wonderful. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this episode of Courage and Cannabis, the author series. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. And stay tuned for more captivating conversations with authors sharing their courage in cannabis. To learn more about Courage in Cannabis, go to courageandcannabis.com and you can purchase the books on Amazon. Until next time, happy reading.
Thank you.